Indeed, we're glad you're watching Morning Express on this 31st day of January 2014, Friday. Indeed, it is. We want to get into our hard news before we get into our lighter stories with Stevens Muendo in a short while. Our press review now, we begin with the Standard newspaper. And today, the headline is all about the ICC and shock as ICC admits it didn't probe witness. That's in as far as the witness testimony is concerned. And we have here, I can confirm I didn't investigate the incident to an extent bearing in mind absence of any identity of the deceased and exact date. We're unable to find reports to match shooting of OCS, find out whose words those are, and more details of that story. That are on page 8, of course. Pictured there on the front page is the Chief Prosecutor Bensouda, Ruto's lead counsel Karim Khan, and the Deputy President as well. And the headline picture in the Standard is what's unfolding, the unfortunate crisis in Turkana, that famine there. And you have Turkana families migrating to Uganda with their livestock yesterday in search of food and pasture due to the drought in the region. The government has promised to step up delivery of food and medicine to areas most affected by the drought. And this is one that has seen even Kenyans criticize the government because it is a scenario and a picture that we see painted each year in, each year out, and the situation doesn't quite seem to be addressed in a conclusive manner. Also on the front page, party elections, it's a warning as more leaders quit ODM race. An ODM heavyweight has warned that the way aspirants from Luo Nyanza have been elbowed out of leadership positions could haunt the party. And that is Rongo MP Dalmas Otieno said ODM leader Odenga had blocked him from contesting for a leadership position and accused him of interfering with the upcoming party elections. And details of that continue on page 2 of the Standard today. Also on page 3, let's talk about what's here. And police US warn of new terror threats. So vigilance stepped up across the country following reports that Al-Shabaab is in fact planning new attacks in Kenya. So terrorism becoming a real threat not only for Kenya but of course the world as well. And authorities have revealed that security has been stepped up in the wake of intelligence reports that were reinforced by United States intelligence warning of new terror attacks in the country. And you have James Clapper, the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, told the U.S. Senate Committee on Intelligence on Wednesday that Somalia's Al-Shabaab militants may be planning new attacks in Kenya. And so, of course, such a war, the war against terror, is one that sees all countries come together because it is impossible to fight it in isolation. And there you see then the U.S. as well in discussions over what Al-Shabaab is planning to do here in Kenya. Uhuru calls for African standby force, and President Kenyatta has challenged African countries to scale up their contribution to peace and stability on the continent. He backed calls by the African ministers of defense for all countries to meet their obligations in ensuring an African standby force is ready for deployment by 2015. And it's comprehensive coverage of the famine crisis. We've been talking to you about it and covering it comprehensively right here on KTN for you. Page 4 and 5 of the Standard has that story, the famine crisis and hunger. Stricken residents are now crossing over into Uganda. So an estimated 50,000 Turkana pastoralists seek food and water as well as pasture for their animals. So they are currently camping in northern Uganda in search of food and water as well as pasture of their animals as the famine situation bites. And irrigation projects in the area. The government started irrigation projects in the area, but they have not been completed. There are more than 8 contractors mandated to initiate irrigation projects, but they have not done meaningful work. So that just goes to show how much more still is required to be done in as far as addressing that crisis is concerned. And you can read more about it on page 5 as well. in the Standard today. Page 6 talks about very few poachers go to jail, and that is what a new study is showing. Remember, that's another problem that the country has had to tackle and deal with, on perpetrators paying token fines despite the severity of their crime. Of course, poaching setting the country aback, the wildlife and the population, those numbers, we've seen them dropping in the years past. So only 4% of offenders convicted of wildlife crimes in Kenya go to jail. That is worrying. And this is according to a study conducted by wildlife conservation groups on wildlife-related crime and prosecution in Kenya courts, which will be presented to the office of the Chief Justice today. So definitely we'll be hearing more about that. Lawyers back agenda for JSC seat. That is what a reporter is talking about. There are some lawyers in Mombasa backing him, but of course the truth teller is the election on February the 6th, when of course those LSK elections will be held and all will know who the winners will be. Page 8 focuses on the ICC prosecution on the back foot again. So that trial ongoing, an account of the 10th prosecution witness provided to the court could not be verified by the team. That was the shocker right there, because initially they would be able to verify, having vetted what it is the witness would say before court. But in this particular incident, that did not happen, and details of that are covered for you on that page of the Standard newspaper. And for the sports lovers, we've got sports covered for you very well in the fever pitch pages of the Standard back page. And 5-star City rout Spurs. It's all about amazing football season, and Chelsea stumbled, dropping points against West Ham. So Manchester City is coached to the top of the Premier League with a ruthless 5-1 win at Tottenham Hotspur, as Chelsea's title ambitions were hit by a 0-0 home draw with West Ham United on Wednesday. Also inside fever pitch, Libya and Ghana will meet in CHAN finals on Saturday. Page 75 has that for you. And Gor Mahia captainized good performance at Kenya Power Charity Cup as well. The last day of January also has extra pullout for you inside the Standard newspaper. And the headline in Extra today, Red Redemption Songs, is a narrative of Kenyan songs that contributed to the liberation struggle. Those songs that got the freedom fighters encouraged and going on with the fight in those difficult times they must have been. Read more about those redemption songs on page 2 to 4. And fighting high energy costs is covered for you as well inside the Extra. Also foods to take care of libido issues. If you know somebody with some of those, they could get some advice there. An outrage over Turkana famine was expressed on Twitter, and you can read more about what the KOT, that's the Kenyans on Twitter, had to say, and especially in reaction to the lack of preparedness in as far as ensuring this situation is mitigated to avoid the repeat year in, year out as well. Let's go to the Daily Nation now. My earpiece here misbehaving. Kenya on high alert following terrorist threats, and we've mentioned that also in the Standard covered for you. So 9 arrested at airport with fake passports and visas as staff rules put in place to enhance public safety. Also, man who quote-unquote volunteered information on Somalia terrorist group charged with lying to the police. Details of that are on page 4 and 5. But security agents here are on high alert after intelligence reports indicated that Al-Shabaab militants were planning attacks in Kenya and other African countries which have sent their soldiers to Somalia. Also on that page, the front page, you have the Inspector General of the Police, David Kimayo, saying we have our intelligence reports and have enhanced security across the country for some time now. The front page picture, troubled continent, Uhuru among African leaders seeking peace in South Sudan. And CAR, displaced families turn a hunger in Bangui, Central Africa Republic, that's CAR, into a refugee camp after they fled fighting between Muslims and Christians in the troubled nation. Also on the front page, those polls that are coming up next month, ODM is not a Luo party. That's what Raila Odinga is saying. The former Prime Minister said the party's performance in the last general election, in which it won slightly more than half of the 47 governor seats, was an indicator of its national outlook. Right, page 2 covers what's happening in Embu County. Governors oppose bid to kick out Wambora, and we did hear from him earlier on in our bulletin, talking about the fact that that move to impeach him was unlawful, as there was a court order ensuring or dictating or directing that it should not happen up until some of those issues were resolved. Read more about that. And of course, he has been accused of corruption and abuse of office as well. Also on that page, Uhuru defends Kenya's youth record. Details are there. On page 3, it's matters ICC, as ICC judge pulls out of case against the president. So the ICC judge, that's Chile Eboe Osuji, has pulled out of the case facing President Uhuru Kenyatta. That's on page 3 of the Daily Nation in The Hague. So the court did not give any reasons for the move, only saying that the judge had requested not to be part of the case. Of course, he had been the presiding judge in the case of the deputy president and that of the president as well. So he has removed himself from that of the president. And the court has picked Judge Geoffrey A. Henderson to replace him when the case does commence. And remember, when the case commences is not clear as we speak. Also a story there, witness put to task over politics, and it's really over some of those proclamations the witnesses are making on the stand. And security and that terror threat that also saw the U.S. discussion over it with their security forces on probable and potential threats in Kenya from the Al-Shabaab, covered for you on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. On page 6, Kidero quits race for key ODM party post, another of those heavyweights we've seen drop out of the polls that will be held next month. And it will be interesting to see how that will look after the elections, the lineup and the leadership in the Orange Democratic Movement. NSSF project illegal, declares a House team on page 8. MPs say board should not have awarded contract without assurances it would be funded. Read more there. Let's go now to the back page of the Daily Nation. And Juba rebels demand release of 4. They rule out peace talks until Kiir, that's Salva Kiir, frees the remaining political prisoners. And the picture there is some of the 7 detainees who were released on Wednesday when they met President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House. Let's now cross to the Star newspaper. Today, headlined by Mwau asked Kavuludi to sack top cop over drugs. That is the headline in today's Star newspaper. We'll look at those details shortly on page 6. But other stories that are on the front page, the headline picture is U.S. warns Al-Shabaab plotting more Kenya attacks. We've read about that in other dailies. And also another story here, Nairobi girls start sex at 14. So a new study has revealed that some girls in Nairobi start engaging in sex as early as 14 years old. The study was commissioned in 6 different residential areas, mainly informal settlements, and involved multiple approaches, including focus group discussions as well. Let's get into the pages of the Star newspaper. Page 2 talks about a PIC summons ex-ministers, that's former ministers in former President Kibaki's government, are expected to appear before the Public Investments Committee next week. The former ministers are required to shed light on the 327 billion shillings standard gauge railway saga. Page 3, Kenya pushes for AU's April ultimatum to ICC. Details of that are covered on that page for you. Let's go to page 6 that has some of those details of the story as highlighted on the front page. And what's that report on Mwau asking Kavuludi to sack top cop over drugs? What they're saying here in the Star is that the letter that almost cost Deputy Director of CID Gideon Kimilu his job was written by former Assistant Minister John Harun Mwau. He accused the top cop of having quote-unquote links to the drugs trade. In his letter dated December 5th last year, Mwau urged the National Police Service Commission to sack Kimilu after US President Barack Obama identified him as an international drug lord. And page 7, just more of those details in what's shaping up in the ODM poll, and Kidero Ongera pullout of ODM February polls. More details about how that is shaping up as well covered in the Star. Finally, the People newspaper today, the front page, Raila tells of rebels as Kidero quits ODM race. So it's firefighting. Party leader, ODM party leader there moves to stave off perception that the party is exclusive to Nyanza politicians and declares it is not a village party. Also on the front page of the People newspaper today, Moisan ordered to pay ex-wife 2.7 million shillings or go to jail. And county taxes are illegal, says Senate, Treasury, Committee on Finance, Commerce and Economic Affairs and National Treasury agreed to have the levies revoked. Also, another story that's in the People today, change of guard at the helm of ICC, Judge Geoffrey Henderson of Trinidad and Tobago replaces Chile Osuji of Nigeria in President Uhuru Kenyatta's case in The Hague. Right, we're glad you're watching Morning Express. It is 6:45 a.m. on this Furahi day. We're indeed glad you are with us, and I'm now joined by Stevens Muendo.
So much that is going on. I mean, I thought January was just a good month. I'm hearing so many things about girls at 14 going to sex and all those things, and I'm just thinking, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, the study showing there that at the age of 14, already engaging in sex, it's quite shocking. Parents should be aware that that is happening and probably have those conversations with their children at early age. But good morning, good to see you. Have I seen you this year?
No, you haven't seen me this year.
Happy New Year.
I've been on leave at the best part of January, and I think you guys have been doing a lot of good job. I'll be watching you on TV.
Yeah, with Smita, who has decided to sleep
where is he? I'm thinking, hey, I just showed up. Smita is not here now.
Yeah, he's very slippery like that. Very understandable.
Good. How have you been, though?
I've been well. You know, I'm always just having a really great time on the show with the team. Interesting topics we get to talk about every morning. And Furahi Day is just that one. You know, the weekend is on. And so, yeah, excited for some good rest.
A lot of fun going on, yeah. Like I say, January is gone and the blues are gone, and Feb is here now. Many events coming, a lot of shows.
Valentine's
coming. Valentine's, and as we talk of Valentine's, cougar parties coming. Now I'm shocked again.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Odd mamas and young boys again.
Young boys. Yes, let's get to the pulse. Quite a number of stories that we have in here, but the headline page is talking about Pimp Thy Neighbor, which is one of the stories we'll get to in one of the pages. But a very interesting introduction you have here, Comrades of Power, and it's of course as far as
in line with the cover story.
The main story, yes, the cover story. Talk to us about what is unfolding in our campus.
Just the old story by Esther Mushene, who is one of our brilliant writers. It's about young girls in campus, university students, going into rather abnormal territories. Well,
so abnormal.
We used to know, and we had it some years ago, where campus girls would get involved in sex issues, about going to the streets. We had issues where police would claim that they got campus girls at Koinange Street and all that.
Right.
But now we're having a situation whereby PAS is unveiling a new situation of campus girls and young men who are involved in pimping each other with old men and stuff like that.
Right. So the men in campus take it upon themselves to pimp this girl,
the
young girls,
right,
to whoever's willing for some amount.
To guys with money, and it's quite crazy, and it borders on moral issues. End of the day, and you know, that's a big question on really, is this why we came to campus? Is that we came to study, but without having to judge a lot? Could be the question of, why is this happening? And young guys, and we have guys who've already been interviewed and saying, yes, we are getting ourselves into this. We have young girls who are in campus. We are friends, we are comrades, and so we say comrades power, and that's what the title is, Pimp Thy Neighbor. Well, we are in class together, and after class we say, hey, we can make a little money on the side. And I say, I know of some people who are having a party today on a Friday, and guys, get ready, get clean, and let's go and make money. You know, it's quite crazy. Yeah,
and I'm seeing just some of the quotes on this cover story, which is covered comprehensively there, page 10, 11. We charge 40,000 to a client per girl, so commission is agreed on, but we take home the lion's share. Wow. So these girls don't know how much we've paid or we are paid. So we take care of transport and sometimes even do their makeup and basic dressing arrangement to the client's taste. Just like any other businesses, you have to invest, you know. He adds, laughing. So just one of those pimps. Talking about what they actually go, you know, to the lengths they go to ensure this business is happening.
I think it's basically, it's showbiz. Everybody has an urge to just have fun on the side, and innocently a young girl would just think, hey, it's Friday, let me go have fun, let me go out. I don't have money, I don't have a friend, and these guys would clatter them together and say, I have a friend and I have a friend and I have Sophia and all that, and innocently I would say, well, I have a plot. Like basically we would say as young men, I have a plan today. Let's go to Skylax, or let's go to Galileo's, or whatever it is. And they say, oh, that sounds like a good plan. But this young man on the side has made prior arrangements with, say, Big Boss X, Big Boss Y, Politician X, Politician Y, and they know, oh, today we have some little money to burn on young people, just entertain ourselves. And they have involved these men in like, bring us some few friends of yours from campus, and he says, hey, what is the deal? Let me know what the deal is. And he says, give him some little money for incentive to bring these guys around. And that's what he's talking about. Sometimes we're given 40,000, 50,000 just to make prayer arrangements, and these guys have no idea that so you're actually going to pimp them out.
Beautiful dress, you know, you're taking her to the salon, you're telling her, yeah, I've got that covered, but they don't know you. And you know, yes, I get that it could happen very innocently for some, but Stevens, it's up to the level when we've gotten to the club. When this woman now decides to go home with this man and actually get to doing whatever, that's on them. They cannot now be like, you know, this guy pimped me. It's on them.
It's all about the lure, because again, it's as much as we'd say the young man is trying to plot a coup against these girls sexually, some of these girls, again, in the story, you would find, know what is going on. And they know, oh, socialite A made money the other day and had a great trip to, say, Ghana, Dubai, Nigeria, whatever it's going to be. And I'm this young girl, and I'm looking forward to this good life. Hooking up with great men in the country and all that, and some of them are doing this with full awareness, really, that even as I go out now, I know this guy did this last weekend with so and so, and I'm also interested in this. So you wouldn't like blame the young man as such, as this guy who is just trying to plot against young girls, but the young girls would say in campus are also interested in this. Yes.
Interesting.
Sorry if I might say, the young girls would say, in the past, to go to the streets, and we heard about all that, and we saw it in the papers, and we saw it all over news that young girls in campus would go and become socialites, and not just socialites, but also toilet girls in the streets in the past, which became, hey, is that what is happening to us? Is that what is becoming? But this looks more cool, because I'm saying,
this
I'm
looks
just
like
chilling in the club.
Hanging out.
I'm not in the streets looking so skimpy and all that. But now I'm just chilling out with great people, but that's basically
it's amazing what's happening in our towns. But bottom line is, as you said, the guys are trying to make a buck. They're being clever, but the girls, at the end of it all, it comes to them in terms of the decision they decide to make. If they go home with these people and get whatever it is they get, it's on them.
Did that happen during your time? What was campus during your time though?
Campus, I was in my campus where I studied. It was very what is it? We were saved people.
Well, you were saved people.
There was not that kind of, off campus that maybe would happen, I don't know. But this is catching on now.
Well,
I mean, as the trends are changing, people are getting creative with the different kind of ideas. But when I was in campus, it was even, because I stayed inside campus, not off campus. Even visiting the guys, rooms, hostels, that was not allowed. Was not allowed.
Yeah.
And there was security to make sure that doesn't happen. But that, of course, did not make people not do it. They'd go do it out there. So, but most of it was pretty contained business.
I think society, again, slowly tried to accept things that we never used to accept.
Yeah, things are changing.
That sex is cool. I mean, we seen and caught out of Pulse is all about a lot of stuff that is happening in clubs and in entertainment scenes where some things that were not normal back then are just cool, and I think it's the times that we live in.
Okay, interesting story. You read more about it in the Pulse. I have to take us back to another story that's also on the front page. Unfortunately, it's highlighted here, so we have to flip-flop on the stories. But Ruth Mateta's boyfriend speaks out about the bitter breakup, covered on page 6
of the Pulse.
And so I was just reading the interview because question and answer it is, and he's not very forthcoming with the information. What exactly happened? So what's the deal?
We heard about it and Ruth was actually on this show with the father, I remember, sometimes last year. And she was talking about her music. She was there singing, and they were all very happy people. And I remember actually I was on set with them, and she said, we're happy. And she was challenged to say, are you dating? And she says, I'm dating. Well, and blah, 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 and all that. And it was public knowledge that Ruth, after TPF, great win last year, and going to music, supposedly supposed to be launching our album, goes into a relationship. And the big question is, Ruth, of course, without having to judge her in a very harsh way, is a gospel girl, and goes into church, and there's all talk about Ruth is dating who and who, but it came out that she was actually having a relationship with this guy. And at some point came out clear with photos that were taken at TPF at some time where she had a ring on it. And
so
then
they had
on a
gotten
blast,
engaged?
This happens, the relationship is not working, and they part ways in a very bitter way. And the story was what happened to Ruth Mateta? Was it her and the boyfriend issues, or was it her and the boyfriend and the family issues? Which is quite a big story, which is coming out now. The boyfriend is a bit shelving. Ex-boyfriend, rather. He says, hey, Ruth is going through so much, many issues. The family is going through a lot of counseling with her and all that. And that puts a lot of question on really what happened behind the scene.
So we don't know that.
And all that.
Or do we know that?
Pulse reached out to Ruth on Tuesday, Wednesday. And she says, hey, guys, that happened, but I don't want to talk about it yet now. Which is still, we would say it's a very big developing story on really what happened to Ruth. The 5 million and no music coming forth, and the church and all that kind of thing. Well,
you know what? Life has got its ups and downs. Let her have her time to, heal or whatever it is required. And hopefully the story will be
a great singer, we would say. And I think that's
amazing. She's beautiful.
That's why everybody's thinking, hey, Ruth is amazing, great singer. What is happening to her? We just basically, in a very basic way, would like to get Ruth back to the scene.
Okay, another story that's here that I found interesting on page 19 is comedian Fred Omondi.
Another big
So 1 minute he was a hit, and we saw him on Churchill's show, and then this talks about his TV show went off air. There were controversial sex scandals bedeviling him as well. Money running dry, fans deserting him, and one of your writers here, Geoffrey Corey, caught up with him. So what happened?
Again, Fred, a big story. Because the question has been, Fred came up very strong as a comedian. Actually taken up after his brother, Eric.
Eric, yes.
And Kenyans celebrated his talent, and he's out there with Churchill, and he's out there starting his big show, actually, which was on KTN. And before we know, Fred is out of the scene. And
actually, I'd forgotten he had a show.
He had a show here, actually. He had a big show here with groomy comedians, actually.
I remember now.
And the question is, Fred went, and comedians he was grooming are becoming big shots right now in many comedy episodes that we have on TV right now. And Fred is not making money, people would say. Fred is not be seen anywhere, people would say. And so the question is, what happened to Fred? Which is what we're trying to answer there.
Right.
And Fred comes out very strongly, says, I'm not done yet. That could have happened. I'm off TV, yes. But he's trying to answer questions on, I'm not the cast that my brother was. Because as you remember, Eric also started the same way. He had a big TV show and disappeared along the way. Until he say, people, I think I had a big bite. Let me go back and discover myself again.
He went back
to Churchill.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a case of young people who are in showbiz, comedians, musicians, who would, for lack of a better word, feel big at some given time. And you ignore the mentorship process, the learning process that really you don't have to get to the top overnight.
Yes.
And I think that's a big question that Geoffrey is raising. Did you try to get to the top before your time came? Did you ignore some steps that were so basic that you had to learn as a comedian? I don't have to be on top of that.
Yes.
And did power and fame get into your head? And Fred tried to answer some of those questions.
Yeah, and you can read more about that interview there, because we see that happening all the time, Stevens, you know, with very many young up-and-coming celebrities. You know, they want to imagine they're they're hot. Today everybody's waving and knows you, stopping to greet you, and it gets into your head. And I think the biggest lesson should be their steps to getting to where people like Churchill have gotten in the world of comedy. But also, talking about that, I asked this to Smita last week. I want your views on what happened to Wanjiko, because that's another one we've just seen drop off. And what's the vibe?
It's the same comedy story. And like you're saying, I think people are out to make quick gains without having to think of what is the price to pay for it.
Right.
Wanjiko is a very talented, I would say, comedian. And through last year and the year before, she came out as the biggest female comedian that we had in Kenya. Tried to wrestle in an environment where men prevail very well. And with no time, there was a big story again on her and Pulse coming out saying, yes, she's been dating so-and-so, she's scaled up to where she is by knowing so-and-so, but again, she disappeared. And the rumor was that even her...
But she did not get to where she was because of dating anybody. She was funny. People loved her.
She was funny. But
she is funny. I guess she's still funny.
She is very funny. I like her, for that matter. I like her comedy work. But the question was, did she leave Churchill to go and start her own thing, which came out in that story, which was done by Pulse 2 weeks ago. And the question is, since she's not in Churchill right now, and with many other comedians, is there a plan that she could be launching our own platform as a comedian? And that is something that we are actually watching.
Waiting to see.
The rumor is, in a few weeks, in a few months, actually she's about to launch her own platform.
But I hope it won't go the same way we saw, you know, with Eric initially and then with Fred, because I think, as you said, that mentorship, as much as sometimes you feel like now I've made it, I want to venture out or go out on a limb by myself, there should be that time. And I think it's just lack of proper, I think, for some guidance. But hey, we wish her well. We wish her well. Page 21.
We do wish her well.
The Grammys. One of the performances for me that stood out, I don't know about you, was Beyonce's and her husband.
And the husband.
That was awesome, I thought, but criticized by some.
Grammys, awesome time. I also watched that, and the video of Beyonce and Jay-Z is already online, and a lot of people tried to criticize what was happening there. Tried to say this was a family show, and Beyonce comes in a very strong.
She looks sexy.
Sexy.
Yes.
Spouse would love it.
Yes.
Nude way, and the question is, did she take it to a new level? And I don't know what your feel would be, but a great show for that.
She's always been like that. You see, I felt she's always been that kind of a performer. And I think the biggest concern and the problems and the kind of arguments people were making was one off of the fact that now she's older. She's a mother, and that the show, of course, was airing at 8 p.m. their time, and so kids were also watching. But bottom line, get the kids to go and sleep. I mean, really, that's Beyonce.
How do you get
want her to
kids
come
sleepy
watch
when you're watching Grammys? Grammys is this big show.
She's always performed that way. I think it's showbiz. You know what kind of a show it is. So, you know, get your house in order for that. I don't know. That's my view as far as Beyonce.
Let me be very honest. I think Beyonce is a performer, and she likes to repackage herself every other time. And with a song that is now on top of the charts since it was released with a new album and all that, Beyonce is coming out as this girl who says, yes, I am a mother now, but I'm still in showbiz and I'm still as fresh as it would be there. Trying to rival all those other guys who again have been talked about, hey, we like your husband. You know, to say, I'm here, and that kind of thing. And I think that was what she was trying to prove during that time. And again, the other big story about the song and the connotations about her and the phrases around the songs and all those things which everybody tries to imagine what it is, but that's showbiz for you. I mean,
it's showbiz.
I mean, it's showbiz. What do you expect?
Exactly, it's showbiz.
If there's no little controversy around it, then it's not really show.
But you know, if we compare what we see happening with the international scene and these huge stars, let's talk about a little of our own stars. People like Wahoo, when you're talking about the female music industry, Amani, in terms of when, like, for Wahoo, you know, getting kids, settling down into the family life. Then after that, we don't really see much of them. What happens here?
I think, like we said, Beyonce is here repackaging herself, try to rebrand herself as a young girl in showbiz. And I think that's something we probably lack in terms of being musically professional in Kenya. And guys don't see showbiz as a business. Let me say that. Whereby you have a hit song, you have another hit song, and before you know it, newcomers are here, and you're thinking, I used to be so and so big that time, and you don't even read the times that we're living in. We cannot play the same kind of music that we used to play. We cannot sing the same way we used to sing when Kenya showbiz Kapuka began, and there is a big story about Ogopa and how showbiz began in Kenya. And a time when the whole world is repackaging itself to the systems that are showbiz this time, you are that girl we used to know 10 years ago, and we have kids on the block who are becoming what it is this year, 2014. And I think the lack of consistency and continuity in showbiz is one big problem that we have to address as a music industry in Kenya.
And I think also being, as you mentioned, sensitive with the changing times, that people are growing up, they're changing. You cannot be the same old. You have to find a way to reinvent yourself and be in touch with what your fans want, so that you don't, you know, go off. You need to be that light that keeps burning. But page 23, overheard. So talk to us through what's happening at Ogopa, because you're saying, Lucas, I fired artist, we will start afresh. What's happening? Another
story that you were reviewing Smita in Pulse last Friday was our cover story, an issue which is actually been developing since then. Ogopa's studio, or Ogopa DJs, of course the biggest stable that Kenya has had, churning the biggest artist, not just in Kenya but in Uganda, Tanzania, the likes of Chameleon, Baby Cool all began here. And suddenly, kaboom, you're saying Ogopa is firing artists, Ogopa is not all that. But this time round, Lucas comes out and says, yes, we've terminated contracts of the main artists that we have. You're talking about big artists like Avril, Mustafa, the likes of Kenzo, the likes of Maria, the names that we know as showbiz. And that developed a big worry over the week. Like, really, Ogopa is winding up, you know. And Lucas comes and says, well, like you say, times have changed, and I think we are repackaging ourselves as Ogopa, contracts and management of artists and all that kind of thing. And we have the inside story on how these guys are actually planning to repackage Ogopa, and I am aware that there's a meeting, a big meeting actually tomorrow, at Ogopa DJs try to get the old system back to.
Okay,
to
and
play.
quite a number of other stories as well in Overhead. Let's cross to the Nairobian.
Right.
So do grab yourself a copy of Pulse. There's so much more that we did not.
So much more that we cannot.
Yeah, we cannot talk about everything. Then again,
Right,
you'll not get to buy the copy if we tell you everything. So they need to read for themselves as well.
Wow.
The Nairobian. Headline, very interesting and unfortunate. My mother stole my husband, as a confession being made here. So the scandal is silent tears as young men and women lose spouses to shameless parents.
Wow.
That is happening.
I like the headline, my mother stole my husband.
I know.
And going back to young girls, that my mother stole my boyfriend. Another old story, which would be, I mean, well, mothers would feel cool and would feel okay, young too, and say, I'm hanging out, I like your friend, and before you know it, your friend is hanging out with your mother. I don't know what the world is becoming.
I know. It is so unfortunate, but the fact that it's actually happening is really heartbreaking, because imagine the shock of that. You're, finding your mother or your father with this other person. That's disturbing at, I don't know even how many levels, at all levels, you know?
Well, and we used to have stories about sugar daddies back in the day. And now this is a case of mothers and husbands of the daughter and all that.
Yeah.
And we are seeing like unfolding right now, and Valentine's coming very fast. Cougar parties where
yes, that's
older
also
women
here.
are calling upon young men to come for dates. Actually, to have very moments, and one of them is actually highlighted in Nairobi on this big party coming on 14th, somewhere in Karen. Come on, we are looking for a young man, this and this age, and we don't want to see young girls in the party. I just, like, again, I don't know what you feel about it, Ruby.
Wow, that's interesting. So these are older women, of course.
Yep.
They're well off, well moneyed, and so they want young men to come and have a good time.
Have a good time with them.
With the life that this world is showing us now is amazing.
Amazing.
It's shocking, the kind of details that you will keep hearing about, the kind of things that you will see happening. But I guess it is going to get crazier as the days go by, because this is just one of those things we hear about, because there's also the swinging couples as well, those who come to parties and is it put like maybe car keys or something in a pot and you pick, and whoever you're with, then it's not interesting is not a good word to use. I don't know. Maybe disturbing.
Interest is a good word to use, but I think, like again we said about in the story about Pulse, systems, norms, the social culture is basically changing a lot.
It is changing, but to each his own. When you decide you're one, this is the life you've chosen. Some are choosing different.
Would you attempt some of those?
No, my God. Not asking that.
I mean, just imagine as Stevens try to hook up on a cougar party.
Do you know somebody has tried to, anyway, people try to pimp people. I found that very interesting when I saw it in the paper. But that's when I thought, innocently, it could happen that somebody just trying to get you to be with certain people. Whoa. But bottom line, it is you making that decision not to do.
Right.
But I'm a simple girl.
Simple girl. Young men looking for money and good life. I have a car, I have a sweet mama, Karen, and why worry about anything?
Yeah, that's why people don't want to work hard. They don't want to wake up like some of us wake up at 4 a.m. to come and be here. And share with the Wananchi what's happening. But anyway, everybody gets to choose whatever path it is they want to take. Unmasking politicians' hideouts. This is a story that begins actually on the front page of the Nairobian. So where politicians hide their clan days.
Yes.
And I was reading about it. So there's a wealthy Western Kenya politician, get this, who lost in the last election and has introduced 3 other politicians to his secret hideout where he books university girls when he wants to have a good time. So the man is said here to be paying 180,000 shillings every month to keep the hotel apartment ready anytime he gets lonely, and requires the service of numerous girls who are too willing to offer love for a little pocket money. And it's a very interesting story because it's talking about that Western Kenya politician, how he's now brought in some newcomer in the world of politics from Eastern. There's a woman senator as well, of course, nominated. That's also in this mix. And it's just the details of this was a piece that was investigated, you know, very well. And you can read more about it in the Pulse, but in the Nairobian. But
it's the same.
The Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Life. I think I would call the show Days of Our Life at this point. And there we come again about the young girl in Pulse trying to get pimped by this young boy.
Yes.
And there we are with the politician and whoever it is, of course, try to have a good time. And here I have money. I'm a bit old. I cannot like try to go to the clubs where everybody sees me.
Right.
I'm trying to stay discreet about my affairs. I'm married. Nobody has to see me dating a young girl. And so what do? We book a place. Let me get a house, a private place. So what would happen? And a good piece by David again.
Yeah.
Politician says I can hire a DJ, and that is what happens. I can hire a DJ who can come and play in my house. We can do a little bit of barbecue and all that. And so let the young girls come and let them give them incentives. If they want a good phone, a good whatever they want, let's take care of them. And yes, it is happening.
Yeah, and you know how these details, because one would wonder when they're thinking, wow, but I'm in this private place, I'm paying all this money to ensure it's kept a secret, but they forget that the people who will always have this kind of information, that story, by the way, is on page 9. We are still on the wrong page there. Page 9. Yes, they forget that there are people who are serving you, and who get to see you.
Right.
They're the watchmen who open the gate.
Yes.
The people who, those, you know, they're seeing all of this unfolding.
The same DJs we work with at Pulse.
Yeah.
They're the same people who want to say, as a young girl, I was somewhere and I liked it. Can you also make me this socialite again? Because I've tasted the forbidden fruit again and I want to make more money. Can I be cover girl? Can you, all those things.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't think you can really hide it. And like we said, a very good covered piece by David.
Yeah, very good. And you read more. The details are on page 9. But Stevens, your thoughts in terms of, for those who go out of their way to go to these hideouts, or should they just be, you know, out and about, mixed with the Watunguyas?
You see, when you say a politician, like it is, a politician from Western Kenya, that leaves many of us, or many of them. You haven't seen me, you don't have photos, and all that. But if you mix with all this and the story is out and you want to be this Mr. Mheshimiwa, who supposedly supposed to be the big man in town, who's supposed to be in politics and who's probably sleeping with his friends there and all that, I don't think they would want to come out and be seen. But we are seeing situations in club now where we have lounges and VIP places where you'd find these people actually right now and say, I have a VIP again, and bring those people over. And we have seen that in the recent past, where politicians and big time CEOs are actually in these places and again are not even hiding. It's just a matter of time before we'd get photos on those ones also.
But I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, you know what, with all these kind of things happening, the best bet is go to the house. Be at home. At least you don't have outsiders who are, you know, taking care of your house and will start giving the information all out.
What do you mean, go to the home? The home?
Well, not the home where...
to the home.
Yes,
to the home.
Yes.
To the home.
Not the home of the big person.
Big person.
Because that, well, could never happen. But this other individual's home. So they said that's what they would do. That's what they would do.
We are not endorsing this kind of system.
I'm just saying that's
well, that's what's happening.
I know it sounds like we're endorsing. We're not endorsing. Definitely not. But another story in here, page 11, alcohol blows slows down city accidents. You know, I remember when this we got the alcohol blows back. I'd see a lot of people tweeting and saying, I'm at this and this place, and these guys are right outside with their gadgets and waiting for everybody to come out. And they're like, Hatutoki.
Mututo is around.
Mututo is around. So, but it's interesting to see this report that Mombasa Road, Jogoo Road, Thika Superhighway, and Juja Road are notorious spots where breakdown operators are kept busy over the weekend. And you can imagine, like this weekend starting today.
Yes.
It is end of the month, so people have been paid, and you know Kenyans, we love to go
party
out.
And just happen.
Yeah, so I'm sure also they will be out in their numbers with the alcohol blues. But there was a story that, you know, kind of like confuses the fumes and
I saw it like you can do jija or whatever it is that the films don't happen and all that. But it's crazy how Kenyans try to adapt to systems.
I know, isn't that crazy?
And try to avoid and evade all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And men, women have all kind of suggestions on how to get yourself out of this. But it's so amazing how you'd be out there having a party and everybody knows where these guys are in a given place. And you say, today, najua wako Taj Mahal.
Yes.
Or today we know wako Imara. So we're not going that direction, we can evade them. But I don't think that's really the mood. The mood is keep safe and
exactly the message it should be that
take care of yourself.
Yeah, don't drink and drive.
Drink and drive.
Have your partying time, go out, but have somebody to drive that's not drinking.
I mean, if you have 5K to burn in the club, why don't you have 500 to hire a cab really to go home?
Or to hire.
End of the day.
Perfect. To hire a cab,
really.
yeah. Because even when you see like groups on Facebook and Twitter, just talking about where to be to steer clear from,
yes.
Beware, by the way, at this point, come on, this is the way to go. Yeah, it may sound fun to talk about it, but at the end, when we start talking the statistics, the number of lives that are being lost on our roads, then you realize it's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. And what Mutudo really is very passionate about, many like to mock him, to make fun of him, and wonder what did alcohol ever do to him. But when you stop to think about what he's trying to do, bottom line, it's to save lives. No one is saying don't enjoy your drink.
Yes.
Enjoy it. Just be responsible in that, as you said, take that cab or get somebody to drive, but still have your fun.
Right.
Don't be that person that, I don't know, why are we so insistent on that we want to drive, get so high and still be the ones to drive.
We're on that, and I believe we haven't seen the end of this story, because it's a big debate. We have questions of business implications and questions of economic growth again, where taxing alcohol is all involved, where we have bar owners right now in Nairobi ganging and going to court saying we're against the system of blah blah blah. Time to open the clubs, time to open the fun places, and I think Mutudo stands firm with his Mutudo laws. Not so loud, not so popular with the man who is having fun out there. Yeah. But I believe that there's gonna be more confrontation on the whole story about really are Mutudo laws going to stay forever.
Okay. Yeah. And there's a story that's covered here as well about the big bucks in nude photography. Yeah. So are we seeing more people being open to doing this for the sake of that extra shilling?
Probably you're just one of the few people who is not posting on Facebook and everywhere. Yeah? This was me yesterday. I mean, I was going to the bathroom, kind of thing. And amazing. And so what we're talking about, a culture where we are breeding young girls not really being afraid of sexuality matters and all that. Yeah. And over Facebook and over WhatsApp, like inbox me a photo of you nude and all that kind of thing. And the photographer B talks about that actually is a Pulse cover girl photographer, Kevin Watt, who has every day young girls lining up outside his studio, trying to say, I want a photo like of Vera Sidika or Huda nude would be.
Oh my.
And it's a lot of money. We were talking about him. You say the other day, I sent many of them away every day. Yeah. They're lining up. The question is, again, what is the moral standing for that? Why would you want to pose yourself nude and post photos on Facebook and all that?
Well, it's because they're seeing people like, as you mentioned her, and others who've made a lot of money off of their pictures being out there, and their lives are transformed to be these super people. But I know you mentioned something about when like somebody tells you to send me a picture. Yeah. Never send you a picture. Never. Please, never. You know, those are just send me a cute picture.
A cute picture of
you now. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
You know, this is the world of technology. Like, we're in such a world that picture can somehow very easily find its way. You know, even those fun things people want to do or not so fun, crazy stuff, taking pictures of each other, don't.
It's a lot of experiment in life. This young girl wants to, I mean, send me that picture and this guy will like it, and probably that's my breakthrough point. Like, then I would have a breakthrough point. I get this celebrity now out. I not really sounding old for that matter. I'd wonder, is it too much of borrowing from Western and too much of the times we live in now? I mean, we see these things online posted from the Western countries, and we're not afraid of showing a little bit more flesh. Is it necessarily so bad, if we would ask? Well,
if you're a person in the public, in the limelight, steer clear, I think, of such things. Well, even for your own, you know, I don't know, unless you're going to destroy it immediately after. Well, if it makes its way out, it becomes this huge unnecessary story. But if it's somebody who is ordinary out there, it might be, as you said, that breakthrough. That's what you're looking for, to get everybody talking about you. Page 23 has heads up quite a number of stories in here. So Lupita does not shake my marriage. That's what Liz Njaga is talking about. What is this about shaking my marriage?
It's about a photo that was appeared on Lizzie's husband, posing with Lupita back in the day. And of course, these are guys who are in the industry. It's like a photo of me and you on set right now. I mean, and the big fuss was, hey, is Lupita and this guy having a thing and this guy is married? But I think it's a basic, a straightforward story. This photo was taken back in the day, and it was a big deal. And Lizzie says, hey, this doesn't move me. And of course, anything which is Lupita, and we know it right now, is a big story. It's and not just a big story here, big story, international.
With Sonko and Lupita on the red carpet.
Everybody wants a piece of Lupita.
I know, everybody wants a piece. And another beautiful story covered here for KTN's Monaisha, Najma Ismail, my colleagues hugging baby bumps. So congratulations. Good times.
Good times, people.
Najma, Aisha, very good stuff. So Aisha is the third time mothers are still on their first and second trimesters. So baby number 3, that is very good, very happy. So you see, very still happy. Going on
the
with
families. Families
are growing big.
We appreciate all that.
We are appreciating that. But on the same note of babies, we have Wahoo finally shed off baby weight. That's what this is talking about. Musician turned blogger Wahoo, who are nameless, is on a mission to lose weight. So the award-winning singer who gave birth to her second daughter 6 months ago expressed her interest in losing weight on her babylovenetwork.com.
A lot of stuff happening, like rediscovery, and that's Wahoo and that's nameless. The Mathenkes are basically, I know, try to make a comeback. Not try to make a comeback, but really making a comeback. It was just yesterday, Wednesday, when Nameless says, this is the first time I discovered Twitter, and it's in Pulse, our whole story. Really? And the same day on Wednesday, Nameless was launching his new video, and he's launching his new album. And there is Wahoo shedding baby fat and all that.
Yes.
I think the Mathenkes are, and we know them as Kenya's first showbiz family.
Yes.
Well-respected people try to make a comeback with every good thing that is coming. We love them.
We love them.
We miss them. I mean, Wahoo and Nameless, really. We do miss them in showbiz.
Yes. Another story here is rugby player Dennis Ombachi carjacked. Top rugby player Dennis Ombachi lost his training gear a week ago to thugs. So the national team player was headed for training in the morning when the thugs accosted him. Unfortunate.
Unfortunate though.
Yeah, very sad. So for the weekend, what's happening this weekend? What's hot?
There's a lot happening. Like we said, January is gone. Feb is here. It's month end. Guys have a little bit money to burn. I'm aware there is a big show or a big concert coming today at the Office Lounge next door Mombasa Road. They are celebrating their anniversary, and we have big guys, DJ Cream, De La Cream, and
anniversary?
And many guys, the club's anniversary. It happens every year. I think this is the second, third anniversary that they're having. And we're having a number of events. If you go to the Pulse page 3, you'll see a number of events that are there happening today, tomorrow, the day after. Chameleon is in town.
Is he now?
Chameleon is in town. Big shout again. Coming for the Kenya Power Charity Cup.
So you have your WhatsApp here covered with all. So if you want to know where to hang out this weekend, okay.
I don't know where Sophie would be hanging out. Movies.
In my house.
In your house again, hiding with like those people.
No, I go.
Showbiz time, you know.
Oh, what do you mean hiding?
Well,
no, I go to a few places.
Well,
here and there, you know. Yeah, to just good places to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my good friends. Eric Njoka, Joy, Mary. Yes,
all those.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I go many places with my friends.
Where do you go?
Smita, the Pulse team. We basically we are on the field, just try to
So
bring
for
your
you,
stories.
when you're
End of the
out,
day.
is it out like having fun, or is it out and eyes wide open, ears, everything for that story?
It's a very thin line between out, I'm just having fun, and out there. And I saw that happening, so how would I not talk about it, people?
Yeah.
So I'm just out there, people. And we had chances, moments when we went somewhere, we just hanging out, and for paparazzi, people would leave the club and say, we saw the Pulse crew here, people, let's disappear. No, we're good people. We just saying showbiz has to go on.
Yeah.
And so when we go to party with Smita and everybody else, they're all Pulse.
Yeah, if I saw you,
people
I'd
don't
get
run
concerned.
away. Unless you're doing something really bad.
No, it's
I mean,
just
people.
that, you know, even when you're done, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you just think the story will just be good things that we work together. So I know you.
It's the past. I mean, we just tell showbiz outings as it was. So unless you're doing something really,
some of those crazy
not all
pictures
that,
you guys have,
and you're scared of being on page 5, like there are many
Yes,
today. I mean, really.
Yes, I don't think I'd ever want to find myself on
So
that.
today, you're just hanging out. People will be out there,
Yeah.
and I think tonight, I know a part of the Pulse crew will be at the office lounge. Just try to watch this, and
Yeah, so we'll see some of those pictures and reports in next weeks.
Come to office lounge.
Yes. And see what's
be in
happening.
Pulse.
And
Yeah.
going to be in
Next
Pulse
week.
to be on caught out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Enjoy your weekend, and just I think for everybody a big one to say as we wind up is to be safe.
Be safe. That's
yeah,
a moment.
you know.
And don't overindulge. Don't get carried
overindulge,
in the old. Let me get pimped and get another new phone and all those kind of things. Really, we're not saying don't have fun, but really, it's your life end of the day.
Yes, it's your life. Enjoy it, and at least have a full Saturday. In that, don't overindulge that you're sleeping the whole day tomorrow because you're
Furahi.
But thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you. It was great having you with us on the show. We want to take a short break now, and we'll